Hello and welcome to Maximum Disc, a show where I celebrate physical media and talk about films that I own on Blu-ray and 4K Blu-ray. I'm James Adamson, I'm a co-host on the Double Reel Film Podcast. If you like this chat about physical media, please do check out Double Reel. It's a monthly magazine-style podcast made by people who love the movies as much as you do. We reckon if you download and listen to any episode, you'll come away with a good bunch of decent recommendations of things to watch, instead of just doing what the algorithm tells you. So that's the sales pitch for the podcast. Now we're talking about physical media. Why does it matter? I did a sort of longer version of this in the first ever episode I recorded, Civil War. But the short version is, if you care about a film, you need to own it. There's this perception that everything is available on streaming. It isn't. Even if it is, it might not be there tomorrow, even if it's there today. Or you have to pay for it like $3.49 a time on Amazon instead of being able to pick it up off your shelf. It won't be the director's cut or special edition, the thing that makes the whole film work, that especially on these films that have like these long disputed production histories, the films you really care about. And it's not going to look and sound its best on a compressed internet file, as opposed to on a really nice disc presented in a lovely case on your shelf for you to watch anytime you want. Now, hopefully you're a convert to that already, and that's why you clicked on this, to have a listen and look at what I'm telling you. So each episode is about a film I've bought on Blu-ray and 4K Blu-ray, something I own, something I cared enough to buy and put on my own shelf. I talk about whether the film is a good transfer, whether the audio and video live up to the original film, whether it's worth the money, kind of. I also talk about my background with the film, why I care about it, why I came to watch it, love it, own it, all of those things. And when I sort of round it up, I'll give my view on, whether I think, everyone should add this to their collection. And that's only my opinion, but maybe it'll help you make up your own mind. So today I'm talking about In the Mood for Love. This is a 2000 released film, although it might have been released later than that in some territories. It's from Hong Kong. It's set predominantly in Hong Kong in the 1960s, and it's about a love affair between two people living in that place and time. It's written and directed by Wong Kar-Wai. I previously did his film 2046 on here. He's kind of this art house legend. There's a Criterion box set of his films that I'll be mentioning later, which is like this holy grail of watch these films. They're just incredible works of art. They're so visually beautiful. The atmosphere and the style and the way he makes his films is so unique. Like I said, I absolutely love 2046. In the Mood for Love is, I think, more famous to most people from that. But he's kind of this stylist who's, started out working in Hong Kong sort of prior to the British handover, carried on there, and more of a sort of an overall Chinese filmmaker now. He does stuff on television and things. The leads in this film are Tony Leung, who is also the lead and in fact playing the same character in 2046, which is more or less a sequel to this film, and Maggie Cheung, who makes a brief appearance in the sequel with Tony Leung, but she's the lead with Tony in this film. Unlike 2046, though, the rest of the cast, while stalwarts of Hong Kong films at the time, were not familiar to me particularly, not that I'm an expert, but names there include Ping Lam Sui, Rebecca Pan, Kelly Lei Chen, Man Lei Chan, and Chen Zhu Ying. I have no doubt butchered those names, and I apologise. The cinematographer is predominantly Christopher Doyle, the director of photography for most of Wong's most famous films, a crucial contributor to their distinctive look, which we'll be getting into. However, he had to leave production due to other commitments when filming of In the Mood for Love went over schedule, and it was completed by Lee Ping Bin, who gets equal credit for cinematography. I don't really know who photographed more scenes or, had more to do with the completion of the film. The sound is credited to a relatively small team by the usual standards of IMDb credits. It's not clear who the supervising members were, so I'm just going to say them in the order they're credited. Shi Yu Chu, Li Chi Kuo, Chi Tat Lung, Shang Chu Tang, and Du Chi Tu. Some, but not all of the same people who worked on 2046 with Wong 4 years later. The score was by Michael Galasso, who also scored Wong's Chungking Express. I don't know the rest of his filmography very well, but he did win a French César Award for Best Score for a film called Seraphine. So that's the sound and the vision, sort of the main collaborators behind that. In terms of awards, there was lots of awards recognition for this film. It's widely regarded as one of the greatest films of all time, regularly shows up in a list of best films of the 21st century so far. Hong Kong was still independently putting forward entries for Best Foreign Language Film Oscars at this time. It was his official selection for this year, but it didn't make the final 5 nominees, which is kind of mad, when you look back on it now, how that wasn't recognised. It was nominated for Best Foreign Language Film at the BAFTAs, though. It was nominated for the Palme d'Or at Cannes, where Tony Leung also won Best Actor, and Doyle Ping and William Chang jointly won the Technical Grand Prize, which will be for partly the cinematography, but generally the look and kind of technical qualities of the film. It won the French César for Best Foreign Language Film. Doyle won and was nominated all over various critics groups for cinematography. There are various other awards nominations for Best Foreign Language or International Film, and the performances of Tony Leung and Maggie Cheung. There are also big winners, along with other categories as well, in the main Asia-based awards, such as the Golden Horse in Taiwan and the Hong Kong Film Festival. So, absolutely beloved. It's one of those films where if you see a poster or you see footage of it, it's absolutely drenched in symbols, laurels and various symbols of the various film festivals around the world. In terms of a summary of what the film's about, so let's start with what the story's about, because then the themes are kind of a bit more complicated than that. But in terms of the story, Tony Leung is a writer, not a hugely rich or successful writer. He's living in a room, where he moves into a room in a building in Hong Kong. The building itself looks a little bit faded. I assume it's a cheap room. He moves in with his wife, who we never see, by the way. We hear her talk, but we never see her face in the film. His next door neighbour when he moves in, or who moves in on the same day, is Maggie Cheung, who moves in with her husband. Again, it's one of these bustling apartments where people kind of know each other and out of each other's doors. There's a bit of a matriarch figure who was always knocking on the door with a bit of food, seeing how you're doing. So it's kind of a nice little setup, and they just kind of know each other to nod to each other in the corridor. It emerges over time, though, each of them, Maggie Cheung and Tony Leung's characters, that they're being cheated on. Her husband is having an affair. His wife is having an affair. They're always travelling for work, and without it being said out loud until sort of later in the film, you suspect something's going on. And there are lots of little signs of it, like gifts that they bring back or gifts that other people receive, and you're not quite sure what's going on, but it starts to become increasingly the case. And what it emerges is that, in fact, her husband is having an affair with his wife. So it's a doubly painful betrayal for them. And when they become aware of this, they sort of reach out to each other, partly to commiserate, partly to kind of make sense of why they've been treated like this. They're devastated. And they have these scenes where they talk to each other in character. Tony Leung talks to Maggie Cheung as her husband. She talks to him as his wife. And they kind of rehearse what they would say if they were to confront their partner about their infidelity. And what ends up happening is they clearly become very attracted to each other, very emotionally attached to each other, and they spend a lot of time together. They perhaps convince themselves that it's to comfort one another in their sorrow. Tony Leung's character is a sort of a journalist. He just sits at a typewriter and kind of fills space in the local paper. But what he really wants to do is write a serial, one of these traditional adventure serials, something like Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon is a sort of a tribute, homage to those. It's a very popular genre over in East Asia. She's not a writer, but she loves those things, and they use it as an excuse to spend time together. He's going to write this serial, she's going to help, and they rent a room away from their homes to spend time together. And you start to think that it's more an excuse for them to spend time together, have dinner together, but not quite have any sort of affair, which is maybe justifiable revenge. Maybe they should leave their partners and get together with each other, but there's something holding them back. And over the course of the film, you get this really touching, just slightly heartbreaking, beautiful sort of film about these two people trying to get together, or maybe not trying hard enough to get together. Kind of got to make your own mind up at what it's in fact about. But in the end, what it's about lost love, about missed connections. Frankly, you watch it a few times and you'll probably think a different thing each time about what it's about, and certainly the way the story occurs and why perhaps the love affair is unfulfilled. And if you watch 2046 on my channel before this, that film's about the aftermath of this affair. So this affair doesn't result in them ending up together. And you can make your own mind up a little bit as to why that is. It's almost as if they are, it would be a dishonourable thing for them to do, even though it's being done to them. Maybe they're just afraid that it will never be as good as this kind of beautiful thing that they've kind of created that, the reality, once they sort of spend time together, or actually become intimate, maybe it won't live up to something in there. Maybe it's something else. Another person telling you about this film might read it differently. But it's this incredibly visually beautiful film about Hong Kong in the 60s, about those people, about that time, and about a love affair that you kind of, by the end of it, you're kind of aching for them to kind of end up together, and kind of not, but it's kind of beautiful and sad at the same time. So in terms of my background with this film, all the Wong Kar-Wai films like Chungking Express and Fallen Angels, and especially In the Mood for Love, sort of got on my radar. You're looking up lists of great Asian cinema. I kind of got into 2046 first because it seemed to have a slight sci-fi theme, although perhaps not as much as I was expecting when I ended to watch it. Anytime you're looking for something a bit different from standard blockbusters, or looking for people's list of best films of recent years, his films show up, and In the Mood for Love definitely shows up on so many best of lists. Also shows up on lists of visually stunning films to show off your home cinema sister on. So if you want to say, oh, I want to see what the color green or the color red really looks like, on the best, the best film on a good system, this is one of the films that you just got to watch. It's so visually beautiful. And, there are films where they say, oh, it's visually beautiful, but maybe the film doesn't hold up, like Tarsem Singh's The Fall. There are other films where you kind of say, oh yeah, it's reference quality for this or that. But this is kind of respected for its visual beauty as well as being a great film and a great story. So in the end, I wanted to own these films. But they're not easy to stream, because there's always that fear when the art house critics are telling you this is the best thing since sliced bread, where part of me is going, yeah, but is this not for me? Is this The Emperor's New Clothes? I might not like it. So you try and stream it to see if you like it before you invest quite a lot of money in these expensive discs. And it was really hard to get hold of. Subscriptions were needed to just, pretty much everyone. Curzon, Mubi, you would have to kind of invest quite a lot to get to see these films. So for a long time, I was just looking around thinking, how do I get to see these films? It's probably easier to see them now. I think you can sometimes rent them now, but it's not easy. I shopped around and I eventually got a chance to buy a box set of his films at what I thought was a reasonable price. A little bit suspenseful as to whether they'd be genuine when I ordered them on eBay and they arrived, but they are genuine Blu-rays of Wong Kar-Wai. And when I finally watched these films, and especially In the Mood for Love, I'm so glad I found a way to watch them, because the ones that I've watched so far of his films, I haven't seen them all, I'm working my way through them. They're absolutely incredible. They're so beautiful. And, romantic dramas are not really my genre, but this one just works so well. The people are fantastically charismatic. Maggie Cheung and Tony Leung are beautiful people, and you feel their pain every step of the way. Everything just works so well in this story. It's so well done. So how could I not love it? I also love that evocation of 60s Hong Kong, even though the apartment building they live in has kind of got plaster peeling off the walls and a lot of it's quite squalid, and they're going down these pokey streets. I kind of like that place. I'd like to spend some time there. If I could take a time travel holiday to 60s Hong Kong for a week, I think that would be absolutely wonderful. And the story itself is told with real feeling, and you really get caught up in it. I mean, so, I tend to resist, I watch a lot more heist movies than romantic movies, I'll tell you that for nothing. But I really got caught up in it. So if this is your genre, this is about as good as it gets, sort of any kind of romantic film. Absolutely tremendous film, and a brilliant document of a bygone age. So can't say enough about how much I love this film, all the brilliant things about it. So let's talk about the disc. It's part of the box set I got of The World of Wong Kar-Wai. It's from Criterion. It was sourced on eBay direct from China. I wasn't sure, like I said, that it would be legit, but it is. The discs and boxes are real. It doesn't have the booklet that normally comes in the box, and it's so tightly packed there wouldn't be room for it. So I don't know if this is some sort of basic version of the package that's available in another region. It plays on a Region B only Blu-ray player, and the films are genuine, but I don't get the booklet with the lovely essays that you normally get in Criterion. You get all the Criterion menus and good special features when you go in, but it's I would say it's probably the less luxurious version of that. Now, I kind of okay with that. I'm thinking how many times I'll read that booklet, because you can sometimes get this box set that I got for about £50. That's good value for 7 films, as long as you like kind of 3 or 4 of them, and I've loved all of them so far. The full UK box set version will cost you easily over £100, depending on where you shop, anywhere from 110 to 180. You can also find In the Mood for Love on its own for about £23 on Blu-ray, so it's all at the top end of pricing. If you look around, there is a version on it, it's 4K Blu-ray for over £40. The 4K version of the Criterion box set is over £200. So this is really, really expensive. Less so if you're shopping in the US. So I think I got the best value for money. Not an easy set to get, but look out for the Criterion box set. You know, if someone says, I would like to spend £200 on you and you're a physical media addict, maybe you should, you know, ask for this on the 4K box set, and you'll be absolutely delighted. It's got decent extras. The sort of in the box set, the extras kind of act on behalf of all the films, but In the Mood for Love is kind of one of the most prominent ones. So you get documentaries, an interview with Wong, various interviews with the actors who were in The Mood for Love, some deleted scenes or behind the scenes footage, stuff about how they made the film, which when you see the beautiful kind of set design and colour and everything, I think it's worth checking those out if you're into your extras. So let's talk about the video. I always start with a little bit of technical information, not that much. I'm not the kind of person who can kind of pause it and tell you where there's a pixel missing in the top left corner, but it was shot on film, which was pretty much the only way to shoot in the year 2000 using Kodak 35mm Ariflex cameras. Those have shown up a fair bit on the technical information of films that I've done on this series. Zeiss lenses. There's no Panavision or other expansion, so it's a standard cinematic 35mm film. In terms of video, it looks absolutely exquisite. I can't stress enough, no human beings have ever looked as beautiful as the leads in this film, with the possible exception as the leads in 2046, where Zhang Ziyi gives Maggie Cheung a run for her money in this absolute iconic cinematic goddess sort of stakes. But there's just something so loving and caring and beautiful about the way these people are shot. I mean, Maggie Cheung in particular wears a series of incredible dresses. She must have begged to sort of try and keep some of them after filming finished, because they've gone to this trouble, even though they're in pain and impoverished surroundings, similar perhaps to the way David Lean wanted to shoot Dr. Zhivago, where the most beautiful romantic scenes are in kind of squalid or at least shabby surroundings, and the most painful scenes are in beautiful surroundings. There's something about it's a shabby government sort of tower block, and it's not that nice, but somehow every set is dressed perfectly, every character is dressed perfectly, you know. So even though they're in a sort of a rundown building, that are a gorgeous set design, the use of colour is astonishing. There's different pastels and other shades. Every room has been dressed a certain way, and I talked about this on 2046 as well, where it's all been dressed perfectly, and the theme of this room is the colour green, jade, all the things that kind of can kind of come with that, and with this kind of a Chinese or East Asian filmmaker using the colour green and jade ornaments and everything is going to come up something incredible. Red, likewise, red's this incredibly sort of iconic colour. Absolutely stunning. There's this red corridor that they walk up and down a number of times, which is honestly breathtaking. I gasped a number of times at the sheer beauty watching this film. So I can't even talk enough about how beautiful it is. And it's Blu-ray, not 4K Blu-ray, but the skin tones are very good. Just generally the colours are very nice, even on a dark night with the rain falling down. It's a beautifully shot film, and it's Criterion. They've done a lovely job of making sure this is transferred in the best possible way from a 35mm original onto a Blu-ray. It's absolutely gorgeous. It's stunning. I can't say enough, but I'll try and stop there. The sound, similarly, Dolby Digital recording was used for the filming on 35mm film. That means it was captured on the film itself. It's reproduced here on DTS 5.1, which is very good quality. Some people prefer sort of Dolby Atmos, but the DTS 5.1 is very good. The sound is absolutely pin sharp. The musical theme is absolutely ravishing. I mean, there's not a lot of helicopters and gunshots to test your speakers, but that music is just really, really beautiful. It's sort of often a little bit orchestral, often a little bit piano. It really gets under your skin, and the music is beautifully reproduced. There's also great sounds of, like I say, the rain is coming down. There's lots of hustle bustle in the city. For example, when people are moving in and there's noise up and down the stairs and in various rooms, you hear it all over. It's really immersive. It's beautiful, lovely sound. It's mainly the visual though, but the sound is reproduced to the highest possible standard of what you get. But in terms of video, this is what you're here for. So would I say reference quality? I mean, for Blu-ray, yes. For 4K, we'd have to wait and see when that comes out. But this is, I can only imagine what the 4K looks like because the Blu-ray is so good. I think in terms of Blu-ray quality, it's very similar to the really nice Blu-ray edition of Lawrence of Arabia that I've been living with for a long time before I treated myself to the 4K of that. It's really, really, really nice. So overall, this is a really beautiful film, even though it's not out of my genre. It actually absolutely caught me. I've actually been sitting with this film for a little while since I watched it for this show to kind of think about it, let it sink in. It's a really wonderful film. I think it deserves all the accolades. I'm sure if you like the romantic drama genre, you will have, like anyone does, you will have the standard. That was pretty good. Probably not for anyone who's not into the same genre as me. Then you have the absolute works of art that is so beautifully done. This is one of those works of art. It's every aspect of it is just incredible. It's beautifully done, beautifully made, and a really, really, really nice kind of Blu-ray collection, including this one. So should you add this to your collection? Absolutely. I mean, unless the very thought of a love story being the centre of a film, it makes you want to kind of run and hit your head on the wall. And even then, I would give this a chance because it might just convert you. I think you need to add this to your collection because in terms of visual beauty, it's as good as it gets. I think the only challenge, as I said, is when I sit down and talk about the different versions, it's a minimum of £20 just to watch this, just to buy this film. Now that some people think that's enough, for a Blu-ray. I think that's a lot to spend on a Blu-ray. But if you're in the mood for love, maybe it's worth just buying it for that. Check out the box set, ways to watch it. The Criterion box set is really nice. Like I say, if it's if you're looking to spend over £100 on a Blu-ray box set, this is as good value as you'll ever get. And if someone is looking for present ideas for a big birthday, I would put this down. It's really, really worth owning. All of the Wong Kar-Wai films are worth owning. They're just incredible works of cinematic art. I can't say enough. So that was In the Mood for Love. Thank you for watching and listening. I hope you enjoyed me telling you about it. I certainly enjoyed talking about it. There are plenty of other episodes to watch. Please click on the feed to find them. Once again, if you enjoyed the show, please do check out Double Reel, and ways to find the podcast and our socials will be on screen in a moment. And I hope to see you next time for more physical media chat right here on Maximum Disc. The Maximum Disc YouTube channel is brought to you by Double Reel, the monthly magazine podcast for the discerning film nerd. If you like our celebration of physical media, please check out the podcast for more chat about the films we love and hate.